you grow?
I normally grow groundnuts, maize, and beans.
Bean.
Yeah.
Okay. And do you have some problems of pathogens, pests, disease in the crop?
Yeah,
like
there are
fall armyworm or
there are a lot of pests and diseases in this area that normally makes us not to get good harvest.
so mainly on groundnut and also on maize and beans
Both on maize and in beans.
and in beans. And what do you usually do to control this pest?
Yeah, at our level, because we are just peasant farmers, we use the traditional method.
Right.
Like, for example, in maize, we use ash to control the fall armyworm.
I see. And how do you prepare this ash?
Ash, we just take it, but it should be a smooth one. Then you pour it at the funnel, the center part of the maize. At those funnels, each of them. Then it suppresses that
Fall
armyworm.
The worms.
Yes.
Yeah. And is it effective?
Yeah, it's effective.
And what about peanut? Do you have some problems with peanut?
We have a problem of, I don't know how we call it, but I don't know, leaf miner. The mother attacks the leaves of the groundnut and curls it like this.
Yes, yes.
So when you want to stop that one now, you don't use us because already it has closed.
It's always closed. Yes.
So we use these other crops like taking aloe vera.
Aloe vera.
Yes, and neem.
Neem.
Yeah.
Do you grow neem?
Yeah, neem. In fact, in my homestead, I have 2 neem plants, and they are very big trees. They normally help me to make those combination and control the pest in the farm.
So you collect the seeds and then you ground?
No, I don't use seed. I use
leaves.
I use leaves.
Leaves.
I use leaves. I take them in hot water. Then the rini comes out.
Okay.
The water that water is the one that I'll use. If we mix with aloe vera, and at times you can also use. Do you know the Bidens pilosa? Bidens pilosa.
No, I don't.
Mexican marigold.
Yes.
Yeah, Mexican marigold is also, we also use that. If you make those 3, it becomes a very good combination. If you spray it in the field, pests are scared. They just get out of the field.
Sir, may I ask you, where did you learn these techniques, traditional?
These techniques, we just realized that when we call here we call neem at a 40 disease control. It can control 40 diseases. So from that one, we say if it's 40, then it can also control this. So we use it.
EWA-BELT
We also use, there are also some cultural methods that we use, like this time. You know, I did not plow. That is fallow land. If you allow your land to remain fallow, the pathogens that were here will die. So next time when I come for next season, they will not disturb me. That is also a control.
So you leave the field empty for
1 season or 2
seasons.
And then they die.
Okay.
And also we use another way, we also use crop rotation. If you rotate the crop, then the pests that were feeding on maize will not feed. If you use we plant beans, groundnut, those pests will not feed. So to find that it is controlled.
EWA-BELT kazi nzuri munafanya Kenya, kazi nzuri munafanya Afrika. EWA-BELT tunawapenda sana.
Yeah.
Right.
And when the infestation is serious, now we now involve alley cropping, whereby I plant 5 rows of groundnut and 1 row of onions.
Onions.
Yeah, when they feel the smell of onion, they just get scared. They don't come. So on that day, you will not even use any other because the onions are there. They don't want that smell of onion. But if the attack is there, you can also take that onion and you crush it, put it in water, spray it. They will disperse. You know, they don't kill kabisa, but they disappear from that farm.
Very interesting.
And what we want is, we don't want their presence there. So if they go, the better.
They are like guests.
Yes.
So they don't have to stay too long.
They don't have to stay too long.
And what about the young farmers? Do they also use these systems, or is something that only the old farmers
No,
use?
the younger farmers are also learning from us. You know, they are our children. So they see how the dad was doing. Now they also practice. Even you are going to interview even the younger farmers. They know those traditional methods.
Mfanya kazi, kazi nzuri, juu ya kilimo, tunawapenda sana mama, EWA-BELT, kikundi bora, EWA-BELT, kikundi bora, EWA-BELT, umezunguka, umefanya kazi.
Good afternoon. May I know what is your name, please?
My name is Jane.
Jane.
Yes.
And are you a farmer?
Yes, I'm a farmer.
Do you have a farm, your own farm here in this area?
Yes.
What is the kind of crops that you are growing?
Groundnuts, maize, millet, and vegetables.
Vegetables,
Yeah.
like tomato, bean,
Yes.
something.
Yeah.
And do you have any problems with pest, disease, pathogens?
Be ineno chandruok moro amora kuom tuo kata kudni.
Nitie seche ma tuo nitie.
Yes, at times there are problems of diseases and pests.
On which crops? On groundnut? On all of them?
On groundnut sometimes, and maize sometimes.
And maize? Yeah. Well, which are the main problems? Fall, armyworm?
Gin chandruok mage ma ineno kuom bando njugu.
Kuom njugu, ka nitie ndalo moko ma itgi lwar, yani tuo donjone.
On groundnuts, there are times that the leaves do curl and they drop.
And they drop.
Yes, on the groundnuts. And on maize, they fall armyworms. Yeah.
And do you use some methods to control these pathogens or pests?
I usually use ashes.
Ash.
Ash.
How do you prepare the ash?
Ere kaka iloso burunino mondo iti.
Kokalo kuom firewood kosegine ajo akete container.
When she has burned her firewood, which she uses for cooking,
Yes.
she collects the ash and put in a container, and then after that, in the container she drops within the farm.
On the plant or along the rows?
Yes.
Oh, okay. On the crops and even on the stems, next to the stems.
And the leaves also.
And this is effective against which disease?
Nito mycotoxins kuom tuoche mage.
Mamiyo gi tuo kata mamiyo gi
Now he says that it works against a variety of illnesses of the crops.
Different,
yes.
On groundnut and also on maize.
On maize, yes.
Unapata chakula, unafanya wakulima, wanajipanga sana. EWA-BELT, tunawapenda sana mama. Oh, EWA-BELT. Mama Jovan.
For rodents, there is a certain type of plant that we do plant. That plant is called tephrosia. Yeah, so tephrosia is one of them that we plant around the farm, and it is able to kill them actually. Yeah, the tephrosia, if you plant them around, or if they, in any case, they eat the root, they will always die. And if one or two die in an area, most of them will run away. Yeah, so that's one of the ways that we've been using to identify, to control the issue of rodents. Actually, the tephrosia has a chemical in it called retinol. That retinol is what kills those rodents.
And
Tephrosia we plant around the field where we plant ours. Then the same tephrosia actually, you can smash it and make it into a pesticide, botanical pesticide also. So that's one of the things that we use even with the pest. Yes.
okay,
Yeah.
from the roots or from the leaves? What do
The
you
leaves for making botanical pesticide, we use the leaves. You can you can dry them in a shade or in a solar dryer. Then you can change them into powder if you have that capacity to do that. But if you don't have, you just take the fresh ones, then you smash them, then you make a solution, you leave it for 24 hours, then you spray it. Yes.
And this is good against the, for instance, the fall armyworm as well? Or
Yeah,
maize?
actually, tephrosia is also very good for fall armyworm. If we add it together with, how do you call it?
Neem, maybe? No.
Not neem, but we can add marigold. Mexican marigold, African marigold. If you add that, it has a capacity of killing those worms.
How do you prepare the marigold botanical?
Yeah, the marigold also we just prepare the same way. We prepare tephrosia, you dry it in a solar dryer, or you can dry it in a shade. You powder it, after that you can use it, or you just smash it direct.
Kikundi bora, EWA-BELT, umezunguka, umefanya kazi nzuri sana, umesapoti.
Are you growing some crops? Which kind of crops are you growing?
ipuro cham machalo mage kothe mag mipuro.
Kothe mapuro, njugu,
Groundnuts,
bando,
maize,
muogo,
and cassava. Those are the ones she does, and also vegetables.
Also vegetables.
Yes,
And are you
vegetables.
producing for your own consumption, or are you selling also these products?
Ilosa michamo kosiloso nyaka miuso.
mauso, hiyo njugu nauso.
She also does for commercial.
Do you have some problems with your crops?
Bendi bedo gi chandruok moro gi cham mipidho? Yes, yes.
Kata kama njugu,
Especially groundnuts.
seche moko kute mag swai,
Or they get affected by some insects that makes the leaves to curl and drop.
And they fall down.
Yes.
Leaf miners. And what do you do against this?
Ere kaka ikonyo ka gino mondi.
onge yath.
She says there is no drug for that.
Mana mari alot mane matiyo go.
Oh, she says that the traditional methods she knows for the vegetables only.
What are you using on vegetables?
Itiyo gi mane korka alode.
Alot skuma, kata dek.
Especially on there's the collards and there's what we call black nightshade. That is the indigenous African vegetables. So itiyo kod gi yath mane?
Kaka skuma, kose pidhe to nitie kudni moro ma donjo ba itgi. Koro sama kudni osedonjo, wakawo gini mar pidho, wayoga to iole kata manyiwa, ikane kanyo. Koro kaka nasepidho ite, to ikawo gini, idhi ikire, kisekiro. Koro gibedo kanyo to kaponi koth moro chwe matin, to ka dhi piny, koro nego kute ka. Kata skuma duogo ka ite piny.
She explains that on vegetables, especially on skuma wiki, that is the collards or kales, she uses ash, wood ash from her cooking place, she sprays on the leaves and the crops. So when the rain comes, she finds the farm is healed. The insects are gone. Are gone, yes.
So it is effective.
It is effective. Koro mano tiyo ni maber. That is effective for her.
Also, do you also use some botanicals like extract of plants, roots?
To bende itiyo kata gi moko monwang'e yiende mamoko kaka pot yien moko kata yien moko miswago titiyo godo e puothe.
Mano inyalo tiyo godo kuom alot mar dek kata osuga.
That one is effective on indigenous vegetables. That is, there is a black nightshade and the spider plant. Those are indigenous African.
Spider plant?
Yes, spider plant. So she uses extracts of some plants to cure their problems.
On tomato or on local?
On local vegetables. That is spider plant and the black nightshade. Those are indigenous vegetables for Africans. Yes.
And do you also grow some plants that, like spider plant, to obtain these botanicals, or just they grow in the wild? Spider plant.
Alode machalo dek gi. Be ipidho gi apidha koso gin gidongo adonga kendgi? And the spider plant, she has the seeds. Now they grow up to old age, and then you store the seeds, and then next season you plant them, they come again. They regenerate again.
Regenerate?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they are in the farm?
In the farm.
Mama Jovan, Dada Jovan, Dada Jovan.
She says she wants to begin with finger millet.
Kwaranja kulima kwanza ukasi kabisa.
When you want to plant finger millet, you have to plow the land properly until the soil is very light. That is before the onset of rains. And before the onset of rains, that's when you plant the finger millet. The rains should come and find the millet in the ground. Then once it rains, the millet starts growing. She now wants to go to groundnut. She wants. She's now going to sorghum. She'll demonstrate. Sorghum. Green grams. Beans. Maize. At the same place. Yeah, in the same shamba. They used to broadcast all those things in
all
the
together.
same. Yes, and they just throw like that, and that's how she's demonstrating. So all the seeds of all the crops they take, and in the same land they just throw. So
All
wherever
mixed.
wherever the seed lands, that is where it will grow. Yeah, all of them grow within the same plot. And once they fall on the ground, and they were just growing and looking okay according to them. And they say that time soil fertility was higher, but right now when they plant that way, they don't do well the way they used to do even when they plant. And they didn't used to plant with fertilizer. They just used to plant without fertilizer. Now maize, when they want to plant, they plant in lines, in rows, and they used to prepare the land using bulls. The ones for making lines. They plant one line, they put a next line. So they skip the first line, the second one, the third line is when they plant maize. Those they raw planting. Now without fertilizer. And it just used to do well. How many mwaka gani? I'm asking her the year, if she remembers what year. In the 1940s, that is Yeah, from 1940s, 1940s, 1940s to 50s. That was their way of planting, and they just used to see the crops growing well. Amafuno kamafunanga mwalichanga na mumo kusianga homes. Oh, so they say whatever harvest they used to get was just for subsistence. There was no sale of produce. And they say they didn't used to shell the maize. Even the sorghum was not threshed. They used to make a traditional granary that looks almost like a house. And once they harvest from the farm, they just put in the granary without shelling. When you want to go and make like flour, take little by little, and that's when you thresh, and then you go and grind the flour. So from the farm, they just keep without threshing, then they use it little by little.
And did they have also molds on the
crop? Angamwa vihanga maindi obule mwabechanga kono lukuhu mwalola. Oh, so they say they didn't used to see the mold, they just used to dry completely before storage. So they say this traditional granary used to have space for aeration. So once the produce is completely dry, they put in, and then the air keeps going and the wind passes through, so they don't get that molding of the crop.
And how could they get rid of the birds getting in?
Na nora koble na mwe so amavere na wavumba mvyaki amanoni nikecha kulia mukari skengiranga mutu. Oh, so she says when the birds used to attack when they're in the farm, but not during storage. Sa mwahola amria manoni nikali mukunda. The small children are the ones who used to guard the fields, the finger millet and sorghum fields, so that the birds don't destroy. So they used to chase them away. School. So they say it's because the children were available, so they were not going to school. So they used to help in the farm. It's just very few who used to go to school. Even her, she says she didn't go to school. So when they were at home, they could help to chase away the birds.
So this is biological control.
Yes. So the children were the ones who were helping to chase away the birds, but she says in the granary, the birds did
not enter.
Normal. Sasa mwako kunyalo kwa chiviri no normal. Yani kunde kali mingi sasa.
Okay.
Nani kana ulime uko?
Okay.
Awatonga amenye. Kana utokulima undi. Nani shakira lilo bali? Nani shoda ishirumba ulime ko iroto mavunda lala. Nande mkunde kali mingi. Sasa no ulimalia anole kawa kandi utokulima undi ya.
Okay. So she says long time ago the farm sizes were big, so it was possible to plow a portion of the farm. Then you leave it for the next season, you move to a different place. So the soil fertility was not depleted so much. So she thinks because the soil had enough fertility, the crops were not being affected so much by the pests and diseases. But now you have to plow the small portions of land every season, and she thinks maybe that's why the pests and diseases are coming.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I heard that is a good one. Yeah, so she says according to her, she doesn't have traditional knowledge of control of pests and diseases because they were not there. Okay. So it's like according to this high soil fertility, the crop growth was good, the crop was robust. So even if there were pests, you couldn't easily see them. But now because of depleted soil fertility, she thinks maybe that is why this is coming up, and of course, as she had initially thought, maybe she thought fertilizer is contributing.
nanatsi bakhubweno ndio nilie tsing'ombe khandi khukusisya nakene khatsirindanga khuda tsinyende khutsya fyakhulya
na fyakhulya sina promaraka maindi kongene namwe na mavere kosi nomundu mukhire style
yani buli shindu shoraka.
So she says initially
kati kama tuma kataiba mavere kataiba yani shoraka sama kuona kefino firinda khuda tsinyende khutsya
mukari. So she says it's the push-pull principle. She says initially before our project came long time ago, she has some of the desmodium on her farm. It's up there. Maybe you may take photographs. And they were told that when they plant cereals and they plant with desmodium and then they plant this bracharia grass around, the stem borer moves from the cereal and is trapped by the napier grass around. So it produces a gummy substance that traps the pest, the larvae, so the cereal is protected from that. Then she says besides protection from the larvae of the stem borer, they can also harvest this and feed to the livestock. Yeah, so she says that was not traditional knowledge, but it's something she learned by being involved in another project.
Push-pull.
Yes, in the push-pull project. So that is what they were using to control some of the pests on maize, and she has even some of it on the farm. So desmodium ilia aundi jirani uoni yenya unyala waamua ho wachawaraka pakusrianga na moba wachakri. So she says she has it. She usually shares with anybody who is interested. I was asking her whether she sells to them. She says no. She just gives them.
My own compost manure. Then I decided to broadcast in the farm. Instead of planting with the compost manure, I just decided to broadcast. And now I'm seeing different yield that I'm expecting soon. So I want to say welcome. This is what we have been doing and you have been learning. So as much as you sponsor or help the cattle to withstand, you are also empowering us with the knowledge that will make us productive in our near.
Kazi nzuri munafanya Kenya, kazi nzuri munafanya Afrika.
Khale khwarakanga tsinjuku.
The long time they used to plant groundnut.
Tsinuni.
Simsim.
And tsimbande.
And bambara nut.
Matuma nende shina mama shamara khubona.
Nasai.
Isaino. Khorakanga matuma.
They plant maize,
tsinjuku,
groundnut,
nende
mrakangobule, and finger millet,
namavere,
and sorghum.
Sorghum.
Yeah.
Nani saino sa mbole emukunda ni chavia.
So he thinks the main problem is the fertility.
Kira ulimairoto ulimaniani.
Yeah, because of continuous cropping on the same plot of land. So he thinks the soil depreciation of soil fertility is a bigger problem. Like him, he has cows, so he makes his own manure. So when he uses the manure on his crops, the crops come out well, but you can see the problem from the neighbors who don't have animals, they have this problem. So he sees a difference between his plot and the other plots.
Does he make rotation?
Angora kanga amatumwa oraka amatumwa mrotso nende the season indino ndamo
rotso ende shirungi
so badilishanga
era kanga matuma nende tsinjuku khorakanga mushirungi.
Okay. So amatumwa
yani orashira ku face ya matuma khole tsinjuku natso kubatsa natso meni sana.
Okay. So he says in the first season they plant maize, and then this is now the groundnut season. Yeah. So right now.
So they should enrich the soil with nitrogen.
Yes. And koka kwa msomi siyo kuli numraka chinjuku sai apart from kunyola chinjuku chokulia na mwecho kupusia mmea kwa chinjuku kurieta kuingisia madini kavalanga avari nitrogen kengira muirova
nende kata mafafu kana kwa ikakola yocha laisa lokala raka matum ketsoba good.
Yes, so he says has information that once even the leaves shed and fall onto the ground, the soil fertility continues apart from the nitrogen fixation. So once he plants his maize, after that it's going to be good.
Mumefika huku wezishani, mufanya kazi nzuri juu ya kilimo, tunawapenda sana mama EWA-BELT kikundi bora.
Yani wakamala ufuna shomalira kusala kurama kuni sasa tsingwi tsingira munge folanga tsingwi.
Okay. Sasa he says that in the field he doesn't have the stem borer problems, but once he harvests, the weevils now get in.
The weevils in post harvest.
In the store, the post harvest. That is what the experience was.
Tsingwi mafuke tsingambe kala kwa bakala ngana kula kusamba. Yani wakamala usosala matuma kabakala no puka mo.
Changanya.
Changanya mo.
So they say is for the weevil, they used to use cow dung. They take the cow dung, they burn it, and then once it has dried well, they mix it with the crop that they're storing. And they could see that prevents the weevils from attacking the grain. No changanya more nana yali amaindika kanyalaka kihala muda shina biro kulihwa nechingu.
Lana yoholo rio kalola kenora kemroto kanyala holo mwezi wa
kama miezi sita biro kulihwa tano. So he says if they could do this way, it could last up to almost 6 months before the weevils.
You mean the grain?
Yes.
Mixed with cow dung.
Dry and burnt cow dung, and then they put it.
And then how they separate when they need the
na ni mwenye kuchokusia murusia murie na masisikano.
Lano omanye ikusesanga nomba chitungo shirosho kuchungiranga wo mutinga muri.
So they would have a traditional tree that they would use to like winnow, and then they separate that from the ground.
Yani kwabukula ali koshoro maika mali ali njirinji nokola utse ko konyera amajikota ko konyera yatsiwe nane likoshira ali linji nalo titana kwa chino la mumusala ko karo kana kokonya.
So they say traditionally, because they used to use firewood for cooking, the ash that comes out of it, that's the only thing they used to have. So when they see pests, they would come and put on the crops. Yes, so that was their traditional method.